Hi, everyone. I am Jason Tuohey. I work on digital and audience in the Globe newsroom. At the Globe, we've been charging for our journalism since 2011. We have well over 100,000 paying digital subscribers as of now. And I'm going to walk through just a few of the things we've learned on this journey as we've cultivated this readership from a newsroom perspective. So one of the big learnings we've had is that you need to really get the right metrics in your newsroom. At the Globe, we have dashboards for every journalist individualized, and they show 5 metrics: total visits, New England visits, subscriptions, conversion percentage, and subscriber visits. So these numbers quite literally represent the path down a journey to a subscription. If you don't know what your readers value, you're never going to be on the same page with them. So this is our attempt to get these metrics in the hands of every single journalist in the newsroom. It's had a couple real benefits from what we can see. One is it's getting people away from just focusing on page views and scale, which we know at this point doesn't really lead to subscriptions. But the other thing it has done is it has teased out a lot of the contributions that aren't super obvious in the newsroom. And what I mean by that is not every journalist is going to be a viral superstar, but there are a lot of journalists who do a lot of good work that engage subscribers, that bring in local readers. And when you have more nuanced numbers like this, you're able to see the full contribution of your newsroom. And I'll give you an example about what I'm talking about. So this is the breakdown of the Boston Globe's digital readership. It's only 40% in Boston and 60% outside of Boston. So we might look at this and think that Boston Globe should be going more aggressively at national issues and making a bigger play. But we'd be wrong. This is the breakdown of Boston digital subscribers for the Globe. It's 70% in our city and only 30% outside. This insight has actually focused us to look more heavily right in our region: local news, enterprise and investigative reporting, sports coverage. It's been so successful that we're now even thinking about expanding this to other areas of New England. So another thing we've learned is the importance of continuously building relationships with our readers. Now, subscriptions aren't memberships. They're different. We firmly believe at the Globe that our journalism is worth paying for. That said, it's also not just a transaction. This isn't like buying a hat on Etsy or anything. We have to continuously engage and bring these readers around. And I think one thing we've learned is that we all know the tactics, right? There's email newsletters, there's subscriber-only benefits. There's a lot of things you can do to engage readers. But it's really important to do all those in a way that you're leveraging one another into a cohesive strategy. So here's one example from our cannabis coverage at the Globe. In 2017, Leadership asked us to check out whether or not we should have more enhanced marijuana coverage at the Globe. The background for that is the voters had passed in 2016 a law to make recreational marijuana legal. So this wasn't just curiosity from Leadership's perspective. We took a look and we found over a 12-month period that the total readership for marijuana stores was roughly akin to the number of people who read Boston Bruins coverage. So anytime in Boston you're approaching sports coverage, that's a pretty sizable chunk of people. But what we also discovered was that more than 80% of these readers didn't read anything else on the Globe, and the conversion rate was really low. So we were piquing their interest, but we weren't giving them enough to stick around or explore the site or really stay with us. So we set to work on that. The first thing we did was create a weekly newsletter. It was meant to be a recap of all things that happened in the Massachusetts marijuana industry that week. It was an immediate success. I'm trying to avoid saying it grew like a weed, but we very quickly had tens of thousands of subscribers on this newsletter, and it was an industry must-read. So we pivoted from that. We ramped up staffing. We hired 3 journalists to cover the marijuana industry. We launched a vertical. We created a whole microsite around the topic, and we timed it for the launch of recreational shops in Massachusetts, which was obviously a very high-profile incident. And then traffic just exploded. But it wasn't just traffic. We saw readers coming back and back for this coverage. We were starting to build that habit with readers. And now our latest iteration is a paid newsletter that we launched last week. And this is still very early on, but we are going daily with this newsletter, and we're trying to give something for people to pay for and come for every single day. We're ramping up the coverage even more. At this point, we have about 85,000 subscriber visits every month on our marijuana topics. And this was something we didn't even have on the site last year. So the final thing is making big projects count. These big projects are the most important pieces of journalism we do. They're also the ones our readers love the most and value the most. So these are great opportunities for engagement and experimentation. And I'll just run through a few examples. Gladiator, which was our project and podcast about Aaron Hernandez, the troubled former Patriots superstar. So we accompanied that with a really attractive subscription offer, and we launched it on the site for the same week. And we knew that people were going to be coming to the Aaron Hernandez story who weren't typical Boston Globe subscribers. And by putting the subscriber offer in front of them, we made it a little more attractive for them to try being a subscriber and sample our content. So meter conversions were 7 times the normal rate during that week. It was so high that our analytics department for the first day and a half was convinced the meter was broken. They kept calling our developers and telling them to fix the meter, and the developers kept saying, "Oh, it's good, the code looks good." So, but the really positive part about this is after the deal was up, we retained 70% of those readers at full price. So these were people who wouldn't have otherwise subscribed to the Globe, but once they got a chance to sample it a little, they stuck with us. Another thing we do is involve our readers directly in the news gathering for our big projects. These are 2 examples here. The one on the left was a story we did about surgeons who double book patient surgeries. The one on the right is for the college admissions scandal, which you've no doubt been reading about. We get hundreds of tips through these, and we get really strong tips. I mean, we've had a number of big stories that we've popped based on the feedback and information we've gotten from readers here. So this is a way of bringing them right into the news gathering process. And the final one I'll surface is our race series from December 2017, where we tackled the issue, is Boston racist? Obviously a very high-charged subject in the city. We did not want this to be just a series of stories from the Boston Globe. Our attempt was to create a week-long discussion in the city about race. We used a number of tactics to do this. We had a Facebook-only subscriber group. We had targeted discussions with readers that were led by reporters, where they were talking directly with readers. And we offered a number of quick-turn stories that we published throughout the week to get casual readers into this longer series. We literally created a subscription funnel right around this project. The results were great. The project was a huge success. My favorite part was the Facebook group, and I'm going to close with this testimonial from one of our members who said, "This is by far the dopest group." We took a look. We're pretty sure it was the first time anyone ever called the Boston Globe dope, which was good. But you'll notice another thing at the bottom there where Marcos says, he asks if anyone wants to meet up for coffee. This actually happened. Dozens of these members of the Facebook group met up for coffee and drinks for weeks and weeks afterwards. Globe journalists joined them, and they had really productive discussions about what to do about this issue in the city. So I'll close with saying, anytime you can do journalism that gets strangers to gather in real life and talk about that topic, that's a success.